Production funding is provided by A. Reddix and Associates, Health Information Resource Center, offering short-term training for long-term professional careers in medical coding. HIRCVA.net.
Discussing the issues and celebrating the successes of the African American community. This is Another View.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Another View. I'm Barbara Ham-Lee. If you're traveling this holiday season and you want a place to stay that's personal, private, warm, and cozy, and you will receive the utmost care, why not consider an African-American-owned bed and breakfast? Our guest this evening will tell you it's an experience you won't soon forget. Please welcome Monica Edwards, innkeeper for Morehead Manor, and Joyce Blair, innkeeper for Magnolia House. Welcome to the program, ladies. How are you?
Thank you. Fine, thank
you. Magnolia House is located in Hampton, Virginia.
That's right, downtown Hampton.
Morehead Manor is located in Durham,
yes,
North Carolina. Tell us about Morehead Manor.
Well, Morehead Manor is a 4-bedroom B&B that's been operating since 1997. We also provide space for events as well as overnight accommodations, and we have a great time there.
And tell us about Magnolia House.
Magnolia House Inn has been open since 2006, fall of 2006. We have 3 guest rooms, 2 queen rooms, and a king suite. We also host events on our first level, and we also have a great time there.
Now, what makes a bed and breakfast special? What makes it different from staying in a regular hotel, Monica?
I would just say it's more special because you get more personalized experience. It's like being in a small luxury accommodations.
And people get a chance to come there, and we're going to bust some myths in a moment about bed and breakfast. But Joyce, when people come to stay at Magnolia House, you have all these rooms, but you don't live where the guests live, correct?
No, we have a separate quarters in the house. It's towards the back of the house. The guests are not aware of where it is. The guest area is completely separate from our personal area.
Now, both of you own bed and breakfast. Your husbands work with you as innkeepers in the bed and breakfast. Monica, tell us about how you acquired Morehead Manor.
Well, about 15 or 16 years ago, Daniel and I had our first day at a B&B. I was actually working at what I consider my dream job, and unbeknownst to me, shortly afterwards, we had a situation where our parent company was sold, and they sold off our division. And at that point, we both realized just how vulnerable we were when we worked for someone else. So we decided that we would operate a B&B, but we thought about it was going to be something toward the retirement age. And mainly because when we were looking at B&Bs or staying at B&Bs after that time, all the B&B owners that we saw had retired into this business. So we thought it would just be something that we retired into. But fortunately for us, we pursued it at an earlier age, and we've been tooling along now almost 14 years.
Wow. And how did you come to own Magnolia House?
My husband and I also enjoyed the B&B experience and thought this was something that we could do during our retirement time. We set the course to study on the business, the industry of lodging, and took many conferences and in-services on managing B&Bs and operating B&Bs. But we found a property that we fell in love with and did it a lot sooner than we had planned. So we've been open since 2006.
Now, a lot of people think that as an innkeeper that you're pretty much tied to the house. I mean, that you can't go places, that you have to be there for the guests all the time. Is that the case?
No,
Clearly it's not that you're here with us, which we appreciate. But
typically what we do, we set our inn up so that people could be there independently without us. When guests check in, they're always told how to get in contact with the innkeeper in case of emergency, or just for some reason they need some special services. They're given our cell phone numbers and such as that. We do have in-sitters that are there when we're not there to be able to take care of our guests just as well as we can.
And Joyce, at Magnolia House, and I believe at both of your houses, you do special events also, like weddings and...
Yes, we do weddings. We have multiple wedding packages, from a couple's only elopement to a wedding
with 50 guests. We can hold about 50 people. We also do lots of showers and teas, parties. We do business meetings, day retreats for companies. So we try to be as flexible as possible with the property to provide those services.
Okay, let's bust some myths about B&Bs that I think people get really nervous about. The first one being that there's a curfew, that you have to be back inside the B&B at a certain time.
No, actually, when our guests check in, we give them 2 keys. One is actually to the house, and the other one is to their guest room. And we always make a habit of telling them that this is not Grandma's house. We don't have a curfew. That's why we give you a key.
Another myth is that everybody shares the bathroom.
Oh no, oh no. All guests have their own private room with their guest room, private bathroom with their guest room. And we even have 2 restrooms on the first floor just for public use. So the guests have their own public space. They are not intrusive on our personal space at all.
That's the other thing, that you can only go from the front door to your room, and you're not allowed to mingle around in the rest of the house.
Well, I think it depends upon the inn. Some inns are not equipped and they don't have common areas. I know that our inn actually has over 3,500 square feet of common space that our guests have privy to. That includes a parlor that has television and movies and things such as that, as well as a library. We have the dining room where guests can play board games and things such as that. And we also have a large lot outside where people can hang out outside and swing in the swings or relax in the hammock and just enjoy their stay while they're there.
If I'm not mistaken, neither one of your inns have TVs in the room. Is that right?
Mine does.
Yours
yes,
does?
We do have cable TV.
Okay, and yours doesn't?
Not currently.
Why
We're working on that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was a reason because it was such a getaway.
Exactly. And we've toyed with putting televisions in our guest rooms, and we've talked to some of our guests. Some people want them, some people don't want them. But what we try to offer at Morehead Manor is an experience that would be different from what you get at home. We want you to, especially if you're relaxing and getting away, oftentimes the television can get in the way of time that you would spend with your loved one.
Joyce, what about children?
We accept children of 13 and over.
Okay, so you want more of an adult child as opposed to
an older child.
An older child.
Although, if the whole house is booked by a family or group, we do accept children of younger ages. As long as everyone knows and loves these children, we're okay with that.
What about you, Monica? Do you have children?
We welcome children 12 and over, and similar to Joyce, basically, unless your group rents the whole house. And typically we do that because we oftentimes have a lot of parents that are having a romantic getaway and they have left their children behind, and it's kind of hard to have a romantic getaway if someone's young child is screaming in the next room.
Now these are called bed and breakfast, but we're not talking just a croissant and a cup of juice. I mean, you all do breakfasts that are incredible. Talk to us a little bit, Joyce, about the breakfast that you offer.
We do a full plated breakfast service every morning for our guests. Very varied menu options are available. We look at the guests that are staying with us. We look at what their expectation is. If someone from the Midwest checks in and says, I want to eat seafood every day, we can accommodate that. We serve a lot of fresh seafood from our waters in the Chesapeake Bay, close to Hampton, as well as the traditional breakfast with the breakfast meats. We honor the diets of persons who don't eat pork or meat or gluten-free. So we try to stay flexible with our breakfast options and offer something really special that they wouldn't get at home.
But Monica, outside of the dietary restrictions, I mean, you don't fix, if I'm staying at your inn and someone else is staying there, I want bacon and eggs and someone else wants, you know, I don't know, any other type of breakfast. You don't do the individual.
No, we don't have
breakfast.
a menued breakfast.
Okay.
Pretty much it's innkeeper's choice, but we do take in consideration if people have food allergies or things like that. If we have a person who is a gluten-free person, I try to make sure, and I'm serving waffles per se, I will make a gluten-free waffle specifically for that guest, and I will serve the other guest a waffle that may not be gluten-free, just so that they won't feel like they're standing out because they're have a food allergy or such.
What should people consider when they're looking for a bed and breakfast? Because not all of them are the same in terms of the experience. Is that right?
No.
Joyce?
Basically, the area, that they want to visit, I guess, is the first thing that they should take a look at. Pretty much the inns in the mountains are rustic and cabin-like, and in town, if you want to go to a downtown inn, the services are different. Of course, each inn is very, very different depending on the property, depending on the innkeepers. The websites will give you a good idea as to what to expect and the nature of the property. You can get a feel for the property that way as well.
That's another myth, I think, Monica, that people think that the innkeeper, that they've got to deal with the innkeeper. I mean, that you know, when they come into the house, you're going to be sitting there talking to them or involved with them in some way. Is that?
Well, not necessarily so. Typically, when you take if you take the reservation on the telephone, you kind of get a feel for what the person is coming to the area for and what their expectations are. Now that there's a lot of technology involved, as a person may make online reservations, you may not have had the opportunity to talk to that person. But as an innkeeper, if you'd like to, you can call them, because oftentimes it's required that you have a phone number. But when a person checks in, you kind of get a feel for what they're coming to the area for and what type of assistance they may need from you as an innkeeper.
So you offer concierge services also, like tickets for events and things of that nature?
We do. We make reservations, book tickets. If we know well in advance that they want to attend a special concert, we can get the tickets for them. We try to send our out-of-state guests a sample itinerary for their stay time to get them abreast of concerts and restaurants and things like that, so they can kind of get thinking about that before they come.
Now, are both of you now full-time innkeepers, and are your husbands full-time innkeepers also? Or Joyce, you smiling over there?
I consider myself a full-time innkeeper, although I do have assistants. I'm a registered nurse, and I still keep my hands in that a bit.
Okay. Monica?
Yes, I'm a full-time innkeeper, have been a full-time innkeeper for almost 12 years now. My husband does work outside the inn. He's currently a police sergeant for the city of Durham.
Okay. And so, but both husbands also get involved. We want to make sure that they get get their props. What makes an African-American owned B&B unique compared to other B&Bs?
I would say probably because we are few and far between. Yes, that would be the only difference.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, and you're also the treasurer for the, to make sure I get it right, African American Association of Innkeepers International.
That's correct.
And so you work with other African American owned B&Bs around the country?
Yes.
Okay. What types of services do you guys offer to them?
Pretty much what we do is it's more of a networking type of organization, as far as things that may come up that they may not want to ask other people questions about, with regards to different things that may come up in an African American owned B&B versus a non-African American owned B&B.
Can you give us an example?
Just like some of the financing issues, or where to look for finances. One of the things I found is a lot of people that are looking to come into this business have a misperception that there are grants and things available for opening B&Bs. If there are, please call me so I can know about it.
No, it is a business.
Yes, it is a business. And it's a professional business, and that's the thing that you have to really do when you think about becoming an innkeeper, is really doing a self-assessment, because it does require a lot of your time, a lot of commitment.
And I would imagine you have to like people, huh, Joyce?
Absolutely. You have to be able to embrace each and every person that comes through your door.
Even the problem ones?
Even the problem ones. Yes, you do.
Have either of you had problem guests, and how have you had to handle that?
I would say the problem guests that I've had in the 13 years that we've been open have been more so people that did not make their own reservations. They were third-party reservations, either a situation where we've given away a gift certificate through an organization, and the person may not have been a B&B goer, and that posed a problem.
Okay.
But they're only there for a short period of time.
If you are not African American, will you be comfortable in either of your inns?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so people should not look at, just because it's African American owned does not mean it's not open to everyone.
Exactly.
That's right.
Correct. Okay. And when you travel around, both of you have had, you talk about the B&B experience. What's the difference in the different B&Bs that you've visited? I mean, give us some examples of how one is different from another. You talked a little bit about rustic in the mountains, but just give us a little sense of how they're different.
Well, it depends on the innkeepers and the innkeepers' interest. We've seen inns, the innkeepers love to tango dance, so they have tango dancing lessons in their inn. Some innkeepers are gourmet cooks and have the accommodations to do cooking classes. All inns offer something different according to the property, the location, and the interests of the innkeepers. That's where the meat of your experience is. And it's always special, it's always good. We encourage our guests to visit other inns around the country as well, because we're all different and we're all special.
You both live in historic homes. What's the history behind Morehead Manor?
The house itself was built in 1915. It was built by one of Durham's founding tobacconists by the name of James Cobb. And when he built the company, when he built the inn as his private residence, he already had a tobacco company in Durham. And I assume that based on the structure of the house itself, that he built the house with the intention of entertaining corporate guests as well as his personal guests, as well, his family members. So therefore the house was equipped with baths in every one of the bedrooms, which was a plus for us.
Which was a plus, and back then that was a real luxury.
Oh yeah, it was a perfect place for us to operate a B&B.
And your house was in the
Yes, our house was built in 1889 by a Virginia harbor pilot, William Scott. He and his wife built the house, had 5 children there, and the Scott family lived there from 1889 to 1950. In 1950, it was purchased by an investor who turned it into an apartment house. And there were 5 apartments in the house with bathrooms and kitchens. It was like that until 1997. Then a local couple purchased it and opened the Magnolia House restaurant and tea room. And in 2004, when we found the property, that's what it was. So we were very excited to see all the plumbing on the 2nd level with the bathrooms and the kitchens with the house that age. So it has a unique history.
So did both of you have to do a lot of renovations before you got started?
Yes.
Yes, no. No, and yes. So your house is pretty
structurally, our house is the same as it was built back in 1915. Okay. We went through and did a cosmetic uplift. There were some upgrades that we had to do to make the house B&B ready, such as electrical upgrades, plumbing upgrades, and such as that. But no, we didn't have to go in and put baths and do all that other good stuff.
Okay, and
we did an extensive 2-year renovation, changing kitchens to bathrooms. Lots of,
it was an apartment before,
yes, it was an apartment building. Changing, upgrading fixtures, that kind of thing. But it took 2 years. It was an extensive, lot of details that we had to look into. Because it's on the historic register, we wanted to keep everything as period as we could with the structure of the house.
What would you say to people who are considering a bed and breakfast experience? What do you want them to know more than anything else as to why it would work for them?
I think just the fact that most people lead a stressful life, and to come to a place where you could be pampered, where the innkeepers know what you're looking for, to provide a nice, comfortable environment, and to provide the activities to go along with it.
Make it special. Joyce?
The same. It is a special lodging experience for private time, downtime, a getaway from the norm. We're not the cookie cutter hotel. The property in itself is an experience, and the amenities just make it better.
So. Okay, now I know everybody's been waiting. Now, how expensive is this getaway? No, but I mean, are you comparable to a more upscale hotel? Are you comparable to, you know, your run-of-the-mill hotels? Where does it fall?
I would say we're probably comparable to a mid-range luxury hotel.
Okay.
Our rates at Morehead Manor typically range from $149 to $209, depending upon the room.
Okay. And what about your rates?
Our rates, we have winter and summer rates because we're in a resort area. Our regular rates during the season are $145 to $240. During the winter months, they're $120 to $215.
Okay. Is there a season for bed and breakfast, or are you busy around the year?
I think typically it depends on where you're located. Here in Hampton Roads, are you all considered a destination inn or no?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Because we're
destination inn meaning because you're around other a minute to the other
Right,
places to
correct.
go. Okay.
Well, in Durham, we're not really considered as a destination inn. We're an urban inn, but our season typically runs from mid-February through May, with and then from August through December. Our slow months are typically July and January.
Oh, interesting. In the middle, in the summer, and in the winter. What about? Do you go all the way around all year?
We're very busy from April to November. So we have a few down months in the winter time.
One question I want to get in. We only have a couple minutes. What about pets?
No pets.
No pets.
We don't allow outside people to bring their pets.
Okay. What about your pets at the house? Do they roam? Do people have to worry about your pets being in their room?
We don't have pets.
Okay. You don't have pets at all?
No, people don't have to worry about our pets in their guest rooms.
Okay. So they do keep that separate. So you would really advise, we've got a minute left, I'm going to give you a minute to sell the reason why people should come visit Morehead Manor and Magnolia House real quickly.
Well, it's a place where hospitality, excitement, and entertainment meet.
There you go. And?
That's right. It's a jewel of comfort and hospitality, and we love to welcome guests from Hampton Roads as well as from around the country.
Okay. Monica, do you know off the top of your head how many black-owned B&Bs there are in the country?
Right now, I think there are probably about 20 that are members of the African American Association. There are over 30,000 inns in the U.S. as a whole, and there less than 1% of them are African American owned.
Okay. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
I hope
you.
people will take advantage of it because it really is quite an experience, that's for
you.
sure. And when we come back, a familiar sight during the holiday season, the bell ringer. But this story has a special twist right after we tell you what's happening in Hampton Roads. What started as a community service project 6 years ago has blossomed into a holiday tradition for one fraternity. That's how long the men of Alpha Phi Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity have been working as bell ringers for the Salvation Army. It's a service they're committed to and they love to do. And as our Lisa Godley shows us, they do it so well, the Salvation Army hopes they never stop manning those kettles.
When George Brown III suits up during the holidays, the red garment he puts on isn't a Santa suit, but the familiar red apron of a Salvation Army bell ringer.
Sharing is caring. Thank you, sir. God bless you. Thank you.
Every holiday season for the past 6 years, Brown and his fraternity brothers, the Alpha Phi Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha, take turns manning the kettles, their adopted site, the Walmart on Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake.
Good afternoon.
It started as a one-time community service project in 2004 and quickly turned into a tradition. About 14 Alphas man the kettles on Fridays and Saturdays throughout kettle season. And the only evening they're not there is the evening of their annual fundraiser, the Black and Gold Banquet and Ball. Even then, the fraternity is well represented. Their younger fraternity brothers from Norfolk State University and Old Dominion University take over to allow the members of the graduate chapter to enjoy the event. But other than that,
Fridays and Saturdays we're here. 2 stations here and the other end of Walmart, and we're here for all day, from about 8 in the morning till about 7 o'clock in the evening.
And that's rain or shine, high wind or snowflakes.
You have to wear your gloves and your long johns and your coats and stay warm. We're involved in it in 2 different ways. We ring the bell as we also prepare toys for the kids. Some of the older brothers that can't really stand out for 2.5 hours or just donate their time and efforts and just trying to help build toys, assemble packages for the families.
If you think their dedication and commitment hasn't paid off, think again. Because for the past 5 years, the Alpha Phi Lambda chapter has repeatedly brought in the most money of all the volunteer bell ringers in Hampton Roads. In fact, since 2005, they've raised close to $15,000 for the Salvation Army.
He's in the kettle. Thank you very much.
I asked Brown if he or any of his fraternity brothers have noticed a drop in donations as a result of the economy, but he said no. He says even in tough times, people manage to give.
A lot of them will say that, they've been there for us. Salvation Army's been there for them, and they want to help out.
While the Alphas don't plan on giving up their title as the Salvation Army's #1 kettle fundraiser, they do encourage other organizations to get involved.
Come on, there's plenty of kettles, plenty of stores that need the man.
Sharing is caring. Thank you, ma'am. God bless you.
For Another View, I'm Lisa Godley.
And we appreciate the work of the Alphas. And that's our show for this evening. Please visit our website, anotherview.tv, and sign up for our eView newsletter. And become a fan of Another View on Facebook. Next week, a special holiday edition of our show. We'll see you next time for Another View.
Production funding is provided by A. Reddix and Associates, Health Information Resource Center, offering short-term training for long-term professional careers in medical coding. HIRCVA.net.